this celebration of greater friendship, if you will, between Russia and China. How worried should the West be?
I think it's a significant meeting because of what the Americans have just tried to do. So you saw Biden going and having a meeting with Putin, a lot of criticism domestically for doing that. And what he's basically trying to do is normalize and stabilize relations with Russia in order to let the Americans focus on China and potentially some of the Europeans as well. So what Russia is doing is playing both sides of this equation, trying to get what it can out of America, but also saying to China, look, we're really not going to abandon you and suddenly go and be friends with the Americans again.
And how does this play into the larger context at the G20 meetings, I'm sure, which will be a discussion about further countering areas of what they call some forms of aggression even coming from China and Russia, separate, but also both on the radar? I mean, how do you think the Biden administration has succeeded so far in their attempts to build alliances in this regard, and what more needs to be done?
There's a big difference between the G7, which we saw recently, and the G20. The foreign ministers meet this week, and then the full G20 meeting happened in Italy in October. The G7's a reasonably unified group. It's all rich Western democracies and Japan and their friends who they invite along, like Australia and India. But the G20, in theory, should be the body that is dominant at the moment. It's the body that should be leading COVID recovery, economic recovery, but it's also hopelessly divided between its internal membership because it has both China and America and Russia and everybody else. And so I think the real question is, can the G20 achieve almost anything of any practical use given its internal divisions? And so far, the Americans haven't been very good at showing a way of coordinating that body to begin to do things that are useful.
But what happens post the G20 finance ministers meet? James, good morning. Thank you for joining in this conversation, because you're saying that a minimum corporate tax deal which got done at the G7 will get extended out to the G20. But can we see really enforceability on this front in terms of global cooperation going forward? What do you think?
Well, I think the minimum tax deal is one of the best examples. It's probably the only example of the moment where the G20 is going to come together to ratify this agreement, and potentially you might see some progress on climate change. But at the moment, there's a whole host of other areas. There's a huge deficit of global cooperation, not just on vaccines and vaccine diplomacy, but also on post-COVID economic recovery, and then a whole host of other issues, from the regulation of artificial intelligence to, you name it, it's as long as your arm. And so the question is, can the US either find a way of working with China or working despite China, or can the US and its friends within the G20, the advanced democracies from the G7 and others, can they find a way of doing things that are useful with this body, which, let's remember, this was the body that helped us get out of the last financial crisis in 2008, but it's been much less effective in the COVID crisis because of these heightened geopolitical tensions between the US and China, which just stops all these global bodies working as well as they could do.